it was with my school fees as at the time, because I was in my final year and I was supposed to, clear my fees in order to be ready to be done with school that semester. My name is Zainab Muntari. I have a middle name as me, but I usually it's hard to use it, so I always say Zainab A Muntari. I'm based in Ghana and I work in the tourism and hospitality industry. I'm the founder of South African Region Initiative. Uh, I founded this company a few weeks ago. The reason being that if you could clearly remember when I sent you my company, it wasn't the company I'm mentioning now. So kind of like had some personal, professional, issues, and then I had to found this. And this company is focused on impacting people in the tourism industry, youth who are looking forward to, starting a career in the tourism and hospitality industry. And also, main event is to organize conferences that are more related to wellness travel, which is having people to consider their health. You always consider your health when traveling. So I'm focused on wellness tourism or wellness travel, and also eco and sustainable travel within Africa. So as I said, my company is South African Region Initiatives, which I call SARI, and this is our mission for our company.
Diversified Game. Learn how to start, run, and sustain your business.
Hey, it's Kellen, and you heard correct. We got the queen of travel when you're ready to go to Ghana and you don't know who to go with, where to go, where to stay. She is handling, Miss Z is handling, Zainab is handling, not just where you stay because she has her own hostel. She also can help you with your planning. And she started this, as you heard, at the age of 19. Z, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Start off. How rich are you? How did you start at 19? How did you get capital at 19 to start such a business? While other people are selling geri, plantain, pear, you said, I'm going to do a hostel and it looks beautiful and you guys can see her reviews. Links will be in the description. Please give us the game. How did you start?
Yeah, so basically we went on a trip when we're in our final year in school with my classmates. So it was organized by one of our tourism marketing lecturers. And when we came back, I realized it's something that I would really want to delve into. So one of my colleague and I had a conversation back and forth. And then I was like, yeah, I want to settle in the tourism industry. So that is how it started. But in terms of finances to support the business, it was with my school fees as at the time, because I was in my final year and I was supposed to, clear my fees in order to be ready to be done with school that semester. So I used my fees to start. And then as time goes on, I would say that one thing about the business was I didn't even know there was anything called year of return in Ghana that same year. So that's the craziest part. So it was like more like luck following, me and all of that. So started this business. Then by September, we realized there was, my team and I realized there was year of return, which really, really helped us. And by February the following year, that was 2020, that was when we realized we did well. I mean, my team and I realized we did so well because of the year of return. So that kind of played a huge role in terms of how, finances start to pop up in the business. But how I started was with my tuition fees or my school fees. As for the semester, I used that to invest, get the website done and all of that. And then, yeah, that is how it went.
Well, we're not going to, you know, pass up and miss the point. You say your school fees. Some people are looking right now and even at Harvard and saying, did she go to Harvard? Did she go to Oxford? How much were her school fees where she had money to open up a hostel? Or what does a deal like that? Did you start off like with the whole hostel, or did you start off with, half of the building or just some rooms? And, give us the layout, because some people, will say, oh, she must have went to a very expensive school to just be able to use her school fees. My school fees could not have gotten me that far.
Yeah, sure. So it was more, what I said was geared more towards, the tourism scene, which is like tours, organizing tours and all that. But when it comes to the hostel was I think that was the latter part of last year when I decided to, start that journey. So it wasn't, I would say that I've been doing, the tourism scene for the past 5 years. And that was how come I was able to have money to start the hostel scene. So the hostel scene has been, I think it's almost a year now, 1 year now for the hostel. So it was after my, organizing of tour journey. That was how come I was able to delve into the hostel. And the reason why I even did that was I noticed that most of the times we tend to have a lot of like exchange programs, students, international students coming in, and gone on tour to the majority of them. Most of the times I go to pick them up from those in medicine, probably doctors and all that. And I realized when I pick them up from their hostel, it doesn't really look good. And when anytime people share hostel, it's like just a basic place where you have to go lay your head, rest, and then wake up and continue with your day. So that is how come I told myself, oh, I have to do something different, probably find a very comfortable but affordable place for people like volunteers, backpackers, and international students, even local students as well, to be able to, not say that you need a luxury hotel, but then when you're in a comfortable hostel, you could also, feel good and then go about your day. So that is the ideology behind the hostel scene. And then I started a hostel that was earlier this year, which is 5 years after I found myself in the tourism and hospitality industry. So I kind of like had something saved to start this.
Are you a successful entrepreneur or one in training? You've got the vision, but do you have the right partner to build your brand, your team, and your future online and off? At cprfirm.com, we offer expert consulting, financial guidance, and life coaching because we believe in doing life with our clients. After all, what is it for a man to gain the world and lose his soul? Founded by Kellen Cash Coleman, we help our clients not only succeed but plan to retire rich. Your business deserves the best. Start building your legacy today at cprfirm.com.
So I mean, that year return that they say brought over $1 billion to Ghana helped you be able to show all the, especially the whole diaspora, but especially from America and Europe, where they need to go. You were probably booked, could hire, and you were able to collect your monies to be able to go from the tour company that has, you need capital for that. But then to have the hostel, did you go buy a building? Did you build a building? And how long did that take you?
Okay, so I didn't build a building. I am on TikTok. I once watched there's this guy who goes around asking people how they become successful. So I watched one video of the guy, and he interviewed sorry, he interviewed one lady and she was talking about Airbnb and how she started. And she said, yeah, there's something called, I think, arbitrary mortgage or something like that, where you speak to your landlord, you rent the space, and then you also rent it out to people. So it's kind of like an agreement between you and your landlord. And once he agrees, you go about, your business. So then I was like, oh, that is also a way. I don't have to even wait to buy a land to build because this is all going to take time. So then I had to, use that channel to start my hostel business. So I'd say that so far it's still the same thing. I didn't buy a land, I didn't build any house. I just rented a space and then allocated some of my rooms for dormitory rooms and some for private rooms. And that is how I've been going with the hostel till now.
Now, is there any fear when you do a deal like that? A lot of people here in South Florida and beyond, they love in New York, they love the Airbnb arbitrage, and they love saying, "Hey, I have this many properties." But what we saw in New York City, especially during the pandemic, and even right before that, depending on what building you were in or what the city was saying, the city could change the rules on you. So now you have to worry about whether the state, the governments, or even your landlord changing the rules, especially if they see you being successful at it. Was there anything in Ghana that you could maybe protect yourself where the landlord could not just raise the rents? Because I know in Africa, sometimes the rent can be paid, you guys in America, you won't believe this. It can be paid a year in advance. Sometimes
Yes,
it's
yes,
quiet. But
yeah.
was there anything, give us the layout on that because yeah, that can be, scary in itself.
Yeah, so that's very true. When they see you doing well, then they go like either they can use their building for that business and tell you to go, or they tell you, okay, I'm increasing the money because you're making a lot of money. But I would say that I have been lucky in this business because when I met an agent online and we spoke and she brought me to, see that man that I rented his space. And I told him clearly this is what I wanted to do. And I'm not just renting for renting's sake, but just, for business. So I would want us to have an agreement on that. So we did have an agreement which was signed, and I rented a space for 2 years because I believe that in 2 years, based on how things would go and based on my plans, I'll be able to move out from that space and probably either be in my own space or probably even have like one hostel in addition, like a space in addition to what I have. So my landlord was in agreement to, the plan. And then that was how come I was able to start with my hostel business. So I don't think that I know, and I somehow expect him to say, oh, it's been, maybe 3 years, it's been 5 years, and I expect you to know that I'm going to increase, your rent and all that. And I think that should I be doing so well, I don't think I would have a problem with it. But should I think that I would also want to move away from where I am, then I would say, okay, since you want to increase the rent, I think I would want to move from where I am to another location, probably because where I am right now, it's not really closer to downtown, but then it's a serene environment. So I would want to be close to downtown. So that's what I'm looking forward to when the time is up. And I realize he wants to increase it, and probably it's unreasonable to me or abnormal, an abnormal price. I'll just move somewhere close to downtown and then keep up with the hostel thing. So yeah, my landlord was in agreement to what I was going to do, and I explained everything to him how he needs to know because I didn't want to be there. And then I just hear a knock, and they say, "Oh, you didn't say this, you didn't tell me that." No, so I made sure I communicated very well. There was a mutual understanding before I started the venture.
That's great that there's a mutual understanding. Being a young woman making these deals. What is the climate in Accra, where we know that, and we'll get into this as well, how I'll say the Black Americans more than anybody have helped raise the price, I hear, because they didn't know the price and all that. But being a young woman doing these real estate deals was, did you have to go to various properties in the time where we're seeing every Black entertainer being called out for partying too much, right? With whether it's with Diddy or they were with Harvey Weinstein, people forget about that. How was it navigating that? Because you're coming in, you look good, you're young, you can be naive to how things are going, and you're dealing with these old pa's and old ma's who really know the real estate game, and they can say, like, did you see any 419, as we say, which we know in Nigeria is not a crime, it's just a game. Um, how did you navigate not getting chopped and not getting exploited in doing this business?
Yeah, I think I would say that I usually do my research very well before I embark on any business journey. So I really did my research. And then another thing is just like you made mention of a Black woman. Yes, I felt more comfortable when I'm dealing with women. So my agent was a woman, and at the end of the day, which was very comfortable for me. And she helped me go back and forth, sent me property images, and then some information that I needed, and I felt so comfortable around her. Then I decided to meet her. Uh, I decided to schedule a meeting with her. Then we did that, and when she took me to the landlord also, I would say that it was after speaking to him, probably I think I made an impression on him in business wise because I mean, as you said again, young people these days, it's not easy to find yourself in a business where you need to, succumb to almost every single thing that you have to experience. So it was the same thing with me and my landlord. And then he was like, yeah, you will do well. That's what he said. Oh yeah, just come for it. Just come for it. You do so well. So my agent also kind of like advised me about it, and she's been doing that for I think the past 3 years. So I listened to some of her advice, and she even was like, okay, if you come here, you're working, you're doing your hostel thing, let's see how we can collaborate so that when you have these African Americans come in, it'll be easy for them to also be able to find the spots for themselves should they want to buy a property, rent a property, or venture into real estate. And I think that was good. So I was lucky to have two things at the same time, an agent and a real estate agent who at the end of the day ended up advising me on the right things to do, the right way to go, and things I should be cautious about before, venturing into the hostel business. So I would say, yeah, my real estate agent was the one that gave me adequate information and education before I decided on, having the hostel.
And let's talk about, the Americans, the Black Americans, do you believe that they have helped raise the price, or is that just something that people say, not wanting to give, Ghana its due? Because I know the Chinese and everybody else are there, but we know the Chinese know how to bargain. Um, Americans aren't used to the bargain as most of the world. The price is just the price here when you're in New York. It's the price. But unless you're dealing with one of those shops and everything is always for sale, right? But it's still the price. Have Americans in Ghana help raise the price of real estate and maybe other things?
Yeah, they have in a way, and I'd say it's both negative and positive at the same time. So let's talk about the positives. So the thing is now people who are into real estate make lots and lots of money because of the exchange rates that the difference that we have. That is one. And the second positive thing is now it's easier for you to find, yourself acquiring a home or a house or a land at any point in time because there are a lot of real estate agents, both nationals and international people come down to invest in these apartment sales and all that. So it's been a good side for economic boom for Ghana. But then the downside of it is locals are unable to rent comfortably now because for instance, if I want to rent a space, maybe let's say a one bedroom, and it's initially cost, let's say, 2,000 Ghana cedis because of these African Americans who are giving our real estate agent lots of money because they pay in USD. Now the real estate agent will tell you, oh, I don't want you to, I'm not ready to give you this house for this particular, like this X amount of money. You have to pay maybe $500 every month. And we don't spend dollars in Ghana. We spend cedis in Ghana. So if you want to charge us based on that, then you are being unfair to the local people. And it becomes so hard for locals to, be able to afford. It could be rental, it could be buying a house, it could be anything of that sort. So for instance, with me, knowing this, having an experience in something like this, the price I charge Ghanaians for my hostel is totally different from the price I charge foreigners. I don't go about saying, oh, because I charge everybody $20 or $30 per night at my hostel, I'm going to do the same for Ghanaians. I don't do that. So when you inquire about my hostel, the first question I ask you, are you Ghanaian? Are you a student? Even if you're a student, I find ways, even though I have my own price, but I find ways and means to, mitigate to make sure that you don't overspend based on where you're coming from, based on what you're doing. I ask, are you a worker? What do you do? All these things are things that plays a role in me giving you a price, even though I already have a fixed price on my website. So I think that the downside of, the African Americans coming in is making it difficult for us locals to be able to afford rent or be able to afford to buy a house. And the good side is the fact that they're able to pay more than enough to the extent that it also helps in the economic boom. It helps Ghana to, move forward in terms of the real estate industry. And they're making so much, they're doing so well. So it's both, sides, good and bad. I think I saw something similar recently in Spain, where they were, I think, throwing things at people because they said they made accommodation very, very expensive in Spain. So it's just something similar because tourists go to Spain a lot, and then people want to venture into Airbnb more than focusing on the locals. So they got agitated, and I think everything the tourists were doing was aggravating the situation, and they started throwing things at them. So it's not different from Ghana. The only thing is that we are very peaceful, so we don't do stuff like that. But then we hope that it would be a well-balanced situation for us so that locals will be able to afford foreigners will be able to afford as well.
Let me clear something up because I can sometimes hear the audience as you are speaking, and they say, "So you mean we're getting the brony price? We're being charged, and we're coming home, but we're being charged more." But let me say, when you come to Florida and you go to Disney World, which everybody likes to go, young or old, Disney World has a different price, and other museums and everything
Yeah.
in all across. If you're a local, there's a different price. When I'm in Mexico, because I'm a resident, I get a different price than someone who's not a resident. That's a very common thing. So don't think that sometimes they try to turn it into, see how Africa is treating us, and see, we're getting the Mzungu price, the Malungu price. No, you're getting the price as a visitor, and you can afford it.
Yes.
Wanted to make that clear. That's the, announcement for
Yeah.
anybody who was listening, because sometimes people, especially in America, you feel sometimes like a victim, always wherever you go. Sometimes it's you. My other question with, the real estate, do you ever envision yourself being able to buy a place, whether it's in Accra, but I know Prom has my name on it all day because I'm ready for the water, the waves. I got abs for the water. Do you see yourself buying a place in any place in Ghana so you don't have to rent, and now it becomes a real estate play for real, for real?
Yeah, I do. I do see myself in that, doing that. So, earlier this year, another thing that I did was I have contacts with as a real estate agent, especially around the Cape Coast area, which is more, a place where African Americans especially are very familiar with. So around Elmina, we usually go to one of the chief's palace to have naming ceremony for our African Americans. So I mean African diasporans. So yeah, I met someone there from the palace who has about 40 acres that is going out. So I planned and worked hand in hand with this person. And so that's what I'm looking forward to also acquire a space there and then use it for my hostel. It could be, I was thinking of Accra, but you and I both know that city life is very hard. So you need to have enough to be in the city. So yeah, I've thought about being in the city and then also having a branch in the central region, which is Elmina, Cape Coast area. So yes, I'm thinking of that. I'm thinking of, having my own space because I mean the rental is good at some point in time because you don't really do much. What you have to do is to make sure you are within, the agreement that has been written down for you, but you don't have to do major changes. Like, you don't have to do things that would probably be out of your way, which is meant for the owner or the landlord. So I think that is a good side of renting, but everybody wants to have their own space, to have your own comfortability, to be able to, give your guests much more comfort in terms of spacing of rooms, in terms of, how you want to design your room to, suit your client's needs. So yeah, that's one of the reasons why I would want to have my own space and then, probably build and move to that place.
One thing I really liked about your hostel, and I've never stayed in a hostel, and with, a wife and 2P King, London and Sydney.com, I require when I go somewhere family rooms. And I saw that you have a family room. The family rooms I like have doors that can lock because there's things that have to be done at night that need doors locking from the king. But with the family room, for those who might just be going as a group and don't need that requirement, is it just one room? And what are any of the rules that you have to, what are some rules of the house when you have to be quiet? Do you have to leave the key at the house? Like, how does that work? Is security 24/7? Give us a layout of that, please.
Okay, so mostly, even though it's a hostel, I make sure you feel at home. So it's more like a home for my guests and myself. And yes, it's not keyless, so you have a key. But every individual would have their own keys to make it easy for you to go in back and forth anytime you want. And also for the family room, it's a double bed. and I can add extra beds to the room depending on how you want it. Because I believe that most of the times when people are, when a family wants a room, there's some kind of restriction from the side of the manager or the host. So I ask you, for instance, the place takes 3 people or 4 people. Would you want to add an extra bed to accommodate all of you so that you don't have to overspend? If they say yes, then I'll probably increase it by maybe $10 or 15, something like that, just so they could feel more comfortable. I think that it's not more about the money for me at some point in time. It's more about, giving people the best of experience being in a hostel and not regretting ever being there, and also having enough cash to spend on tour activities than to spend on accommodation. So I think that is where I come in. So it's more like, a home feel. And also, yeah, it's not keyless. You have your key to do what you want. If you want me to give you 2 or 3 in the room to make you guys feel comfortable so that when one person is going out, they don't feel compelled to, leave their key behind. I work towards that. And then I provide you with that comfortability to make it easy, the convenience to make it easy for you. So yeah, basically that's how it goes.
And because it does look like a nice house, gate and everything, you guys links are in the description when you want to see the full layout and the prices. Can someone just rent out the whole home? Is that possible? And of course, you have to accommodate for every bed that you'd be, missing out on. But if you have a special price for that, I'd like to take out the guesswork and let the audience know today's price won't be tomorrow's price. So when you're listening to this, next week or whenever, prices can change. But what does it take to rent out the whole house?
Yeah, so it's all based on communication. So if you send me a message, for instance, I have a student coming in next year, February to I think March or April, something like that, and they need the entire space. So it's they're called, I think, African Leadership University from Kigali, and they've made me aware of their needs. I told them, yeah, you can have all the space, and definitely going to be discounted. It wouldn't be, based on the people who will be, taking the space, the number, the duration, all these things plays a role. So yeah, if you want the entire space, I can work something towards that and then make you have that space, have your security. If you even need a cook, that would be day in, day out, to have your breakfast, lunch, dinner, whatever. I can get that for you in addition to you having the entire space to yourself. And then should you, even as a client, have some other needs that I think I will be able to meet, of course, I would also, integrate that into the pricing and then let you have your space as much as you want.
Okay, Kigali to Accra. Kigali, I went there for the first time this year. Besides Tokyo, I don't know a safer or cleaner place, yeah, especially in certain parts. I mean, just beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Now, you also have a volunteer program. It's on the website, you guys. Another reason to go. I want to direct people there, but tell the people what comes with that, because some folks might say, hey, in that volunteer program, will you pay for my flight ticket? And can I stay forever? How does it work?
Yeah, so the volunteer program comes at a price or a cost. So I went to I went to I made a donation at a school like for special kids, autism and the rest. And when I was there, I realized, what can I do to also help these kids in this particular school? So I spoke to their for mistress. And then we had a meeting with them and they said, oh, yeah, you can have volunteers come here to volunteer with us. We do have some students who come in to volunteer. So I think we could work hand in hand together to make this possible. So that was where I thought about adding volunteering to my hostel business. So then I'm also a co-founder of a farm in Ghana named Serenity Farms Ghana, where we educate rural women on the negative side of using chemicals on your farm and destroying your soil, and also how to make compost, organic compost for your farm. So that was also part of the volunteer program where you can also volunteer to work on the farm and then help us make an impact in rural communities, especially on rural women. Then the school comes in, which is the second thing for special kids. Then a regular tuition, also probably, you could speak Swahili, you could speak English, you could speak French, and you would want to, volunteer by teaching. It could be kids or adults, how to speak this language. Mostly I focus on kids though. So yeah, that regular tuition tool is there where you could be on the field and educate kids how to speak, French, because we are, bounded by Francophone countries, because we already have our local languages that we speak already in Ghana, which is the same in Africa. So then the international languages could be French, Swahili, because Swahili is not spoken in the western part of Africa, probably around Central and Eastern Africa. So you could also tutor, the kids about that to learn how to speak. So the volunteer program is based on these three things: to work on the farm, to be around special kids and make an impact, or to also be into, regular tuition where you teach children how to speak English, French, Swahili, and even how to write, or assist teachers in the class to also teach the students. So that is how my volunteer program works, and it comes at a cost depending on your duration. If you want to spend 1 week, it's possible. 2 weeks, it's possible. But I also make sure that you don't just come to make an impact, you also come to experience and immerse yourself in the culture. So what I do is, if you have 1 week, I make sure there are some must-see destinations that is added to your package. For instance, you can come to Ghana without doing a city tour of Accra and without going to Cape Coast to visit the dungeons and also know what happened years and years ago. So I add these activities to the package so that as you're making an impact, you're also experiencing and also immersing yourself in the culture. So that is how my volunteer package works.
All right. So you guys, if you're in Kenya or wherever, you could be in Russia and you can say Uhaligani Poasana. You can come over and learn, but make sure before you leave, you at least know how to say, is it Ngiri Akaba? Did I say it right? My terrible, yeah, terrible American accent. But we try. Every day we get better, 1%. Now, we talked about the hostel. We know you do tours, but you also are into farming as well. Is that on the property, or is that somewhere more rural outside of Accra? How do we, get involved and support you on that mission as well?
Yeah, so it's out of Accra because when you want to enjoy farming, you need to be out of the city to enjoy farming. And yes, so I went on a tour with one American lady. That was 3 years ago. She's named BC, a Nigerian, if you trace. So when I went on tour with her, we came back from the tour. We had lots of conversations about what she wants to come to Ghana to do. And that is when we both came together to start our farm named Serenity Farms Ghana. And I'm a co-founder. She's also a co-founder. We both own Serenity Farms Ghana, and it's out of Accra around Ebri. We are also thinking about getting land at other areas to make it easy for what we want to do. So we are more into like poultry farming. We are more into soil, educating farmers on soil to have good soil for their produce. Also, we are more into helping farmers to, cut as much as possible the use of chemicals on their farms so that they could have organic grown produce. So that is what we do. And that is also part of the volunteer program, as I said earlier. So it's out of Accra, and should people be interested in working on the farm and also eating 100% organic food on the farm and being healthy, considering their health, I think it's also a good option for those who would want to volunteer. You can also come and visit the farm. We eat, we get what is on the farm, we prepare, we eat, we talk, about our continent, we talk about experience from different cultures and spend the time together, spend the day together, and then go back to our various homes. So that is the ideology about the farm.
I love it. I love it. And, looking at all your websites, and this is something I always tell people for decades, I said, as soon as the Yahoos, the Googles, the YouTubes recognize African countries and Africans have more access to the internet, especially the faster internet, the game is over. Like Africa is where everybody will be running, and we're just seeing the beginnings of that. Because I remember 20 years ago going to Africa, and I was going to South Africa of all things for the first time, right before the World Cup. so I could try to invest. And be careful. They'll kill you out there. They'll take your camera. And these were from other Africans, right? Or people had gone. It's not even from the Americans who had never been, who still to this day, 70+% don't have a passport. But now Africa is getting so more welcome. And you even see, foreigners sometimes more on the plane. But the Africa boom. So I love that you have the websites. I'm about to cut a commercial right now. So check this out. Everybody, and this could be for you, Zainab. It might be, you might already be using this, but everybody out there who needs a website, no longer do you need to pay expensive websites for places like GoDaddy that charge you for your domain name, your hosting, your security, and now your AI. Instead, use Durable, and the links will be in the description for my affiliate link, which helps boost the show, because any more money I get, the more I can put into the show and bring interviews. But Durable handles all of those things for one low price. You can get a website for it under $150 for the year. And yes, you own the site. All right. That's for you. That's for anybody who's out there, however they cut it up and take it. We're just talking because websites are beautiful. It shows that you are a true professional, especially for that person who's listening saying, I don't need a website. I have a link tree. But what does your link tree go to?
Hello everyone. Come along with London and Sydney as they show you around the vibrant country of Cameroon. We explore the heart of Africa through the eyes of London and Sydney. Two explorers who journey across the great city of Yaoundé, exploring its rich culture, vibrant market squares, cultural heritage, and wildlife. With giggles and excitement, London and Sydney Explore Cameroon takes you on a fun-filled adventure, providing insight into the country's culture and traditions through the pages of this book. It's packed with exciting stories and super cool facts about Cameroon that will make you go, wow. Get your copy now, available on Amazon and in libraries near you. There's only one easy way to experience the exploration of Cameroon, and it's through London and Sydney. Don't wait, get yours.
Congratulate you again on your website. It shows the professionalism and that you take your businesses serious. Now, in all business and when you are doing great things, everybody has some form of give back that they do. So what is your community give back that you are doing, or one that you would like to do in the future?
So I would say for now, I would say that is what I'm doing in terms of the farming, because with the farming that we help rural communities, we don't take money from them. We educate them for free. We provide them with free workshops to tutor them about farming, best farming practices and sustainable farming practices. So for now, that is what I'm doing for free. And in future, I'm also looking forward to impacting, young women, young girls, mostly in school, in terms of, their tuition costs, in terms of their feeding costs. These are things that I'm looking forward to doing. And then also when it comes to tertiary institutions, I'm looking forward to, organizing free conferences to educate, young people, youth on careers, like careers in tourism. That's what I'm also looking forward to in terms of the impact that I want to give. So these are not going to be, paid stuff. These are going to be free stuff that they would have, professionals and people with expertise to educate them about careers in terms of entrepreneurship, because that is a big thing in Africa, more than, you expecting someone to give you a job. So that is what I'll be doing. And then also support those who are much more serious about, whatever career they want to start, support them with, funding to be able to start their business. So that is the so first farming, second young girls in, especially in rural communities, about, it could be related to mental health, it could be related to tuition costs, it could be related to feeding, school supplies. These are things that I'm looking forward to doing. I've even been doing some already with some African Americans I go on tour with. This school, Cape Coast School for the Deaf and Blind, I go there and then we make donations. We see how we communicate with. There are people who have the expertise of communicating with such special students. So we go there, we communicate with them, we make donations. We supply them with things that we know they need, essentials. So I'm already doing that. I just didn't make mention of that. So that together with also organizing conferences to educate the youth about careers and entrepreneurship, and then also supporting them with funds by getting support from my people that I also go on tours with or I work with or my connections, and then I make this impact. So that is what I'm looking forward to.
That's great that you're already doing it. And one thing that we also didn't touch upon was, you said a lot about African Americans. I know right now you are in New York. I don't know if you live here part-time, full-time, go back and forth, or just having meetings. But some people would say, how did you get your first, clients? Did they come to you, or did you have to, just promote online? Because nowadays people say, oh, I just put something on TikTok and now I
Yeah.
have $1 million.
Mhm.
How did it work for you? And do you have to be bi-coastal to do this type of a business so you can get clients, let them know who you are? Or do you live here in America as well as Ghana?
Okay, so I'm permanently in Ghana. I live in Ghana permanently, but going back, I'll be, coming back and forth to promote my initiatives. So that is a thing on the side, but then I'm always based in Ghana. And also, I'm sorry, can you give me the second question? You talked about my location and another thing. Sorry.
Oh no, your location and how, did you with the rear return, people might have
Yeah, yeah.
came to you, but how do how do people find you now?
Yeah, so on OTA platforms, travel platforms where you could, platforms like TripAdvisor, like Vieta, like Tour Radar, these are platforms where you could list your services, your tour services, or whatever thing you're doing in the tourism and hospitality industry, and then they book you from there. So mostly when people book you, they leave you positive reviews. That is how come you go far, and even the company themselves would even start pushing your product forward by promoting what you're doing. If for instance you have when people go they book your Cape Coast store and then they leave you good reviews, it is easy for the OTA platform to push your Cape Coast store forward like up and then make it visible to lots and lot of clients. And also there are other things that you do on the side back end to help you promote what you do on the OTA platform. So OTA platforms are huge when it comes to tourism, and it's the best place to start as little as possible. Then as you keep expanding, you tend to have like word of mouth or referrals, which is also a big thing for me now. Like as I'm here, I got I think I came here on the 17th, which I told you. And then I got, I think it's a minister of tourism or something in Bahamas, whom I'll be working with hand in hand going starting next year. So we are beginning to organize the tour in August. So the whole of Bahamas, you can imagine. So that is how word of mouth takes you really far. And I would say that is what has been helping me so far. Because I started a journey with the OTAs and now it's word of mouth, that referrals that is taking me far. So yeah, that is how come you be able to, find yourself out there.
Uh,
Mhm.
Congrats on that, because
Thank
of
you.
someone who we brought through clients over 100 people to Africa, different African countries.
Yeah.
Everybody can't get the word of mouth referrals because everybody doesn't do what they say they can do. Everybody's not consistent. Everybody's not honest. And the fact that you even had the courage, this is why I do this show, you had the courage to do this business, because somebody who watches YouTube could say, even though this person doesn't even do tours, could say, well, Wodamaya, Mr. Ghana baby, he's already promoted, so there's no room for me, right? Oh, Philip Scott from the African diaspora, he's brought so many people, there's no room for me. No, there's room for you, and you just let people know where there's room, but you have to be consistent and you have to do what you say you're going to do, because there are a lot of people posing as tour operators in America and in Ghana and the world. So congratulations to you and being able to do that deal with the Bahamas. That is beautiful. You know, you just are going to make many family members start calling you even more and saying,
Yeah.
hi, my school fees. Oh, somebody died. Oh, somebody was being born.
It's a sin. It's a sin. It's a sin.
Yeah,
Especially in Africa, it's a big sin. Yeah.
yeah. It's just life, though. You know, people hear you doing good, and they want to see. They want to test it. How much can they get a
Yes.
taste of that? Uh,
Yes. Yeah.
let
Yeah.
let people know not just
Mhm.
where they can find you, but if you have a new YouTube for 2025 or a book that you're working on that might be released in 2025, or some documentary series, whether it's
Mhm.
Netflix, Amazon, or YouTube, what the future plans are while they find you.
Yeah, so I think it's going to be TikTok and YouTube, because you know how TikTok has been helping businesses so far. So I'd say TikTok and YouTube. YouTube, I'm going to start that next year, probably, and by January, because now that I'm here, I'm doing a lot of stuff and trying to compile content to make it easy for me to come out there next year by January 5th. That's what I'm thinking. So YouTube
Wait,
and TikTok, yeah.
next year, 2025, because this is where we're in now. You know, this is TV. So next year
Yes.
of 2025, we'll see something, or 2026.
2025. 2026 is too far.
All right. Uh, keep
Yeah,
going.
yeah.
Keep going.
Yeah, so that's what I'm looking forward to doing. I'll be attending a diaspora conference in Houston next year, February, and we already have things planned. The CEO already is so happy to have me on board to, plan things together. So these are all content. They'll be creating content on my behalf, and then I'll be updating my social media platforms on that, because social media takes us really, really far. So yeah, I'm going to base on that. But content creation, lot of advertisement, and also making people know who I am and what I do would really, really start in January 2025. That is when I would be loud business-wise about my business. Yeah, my ventures and all that. Yeah. So YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. Yes, for sure. Next year. Getting the content ready.
All right, you guys, and that next year is now. By the time you guys are hearing this, Happy New Year. And make sure you tune in, you tap in, you rewind, you reach out if you want to go to Ghana, but also make sure that you press her if you ever meet her and say, well, when is the book coming? When is the documentary coming? Give her pressure to create these things, because it's needed. We need to know how to do business in Ghana,
Yeah.
and we need, people who are doing business in Ghana and know other people to do it. You guys, I appreciate you for making it to the end. I appreciate you for all your comments, your emails. You can like this game. You can subscribe, however you experience this, whether you're listening. I know most of you are listeners, but go over to YouTube, show it some love. And most importantly, if you do nothing else, share this game with somebody. It will change their life. Y'all be blessed. And remember, it's family business. It's different.
Are you tired of the violence, tired of the injustice, police brutality, rampant discrimination, lack of gun control in this failed biased socioeconomic experiment called America? Or maybe you need a break from the relentless grind and want to regain control of your destiny, your wealth, your health, and your purpose. DiversifiedGame.com has the right course for you. Prepare for my first trip to Africa. Looking to reconnect with your roots, start a new business, or just a fresh start. Africa, aka the motherland, is waiting. Don't let the Chinese and the Mzungus have the fun and also take over the motherland. From Cairo to Mombasa, from Dakar to Cape Town, Africa has something for everyone, from business opportunities to the most amazing people, safety, leisure, and landscapes. So opportunities abound. It is time for the diaspora to reconnect with their roots. Time to reconnect with the birthplace of humanity. Africa is the last frontier. Get your head in the game and reclaim your legacy. The writing is on the wall. Babylon is falling. Give up the stress, grind, and violence inflicted on our people on this continent and prepare for a journey of restoration enjoyed by connecting with the land of your ancestors. Check out our new course and kick off your adventure at diversifiedgame.com.